the Greek word logos in the New Testament book of John. It means the word. But is there more to it than that? John chapter 1 starts, "In the beginning, Arche, was the word, logos." These words John used are significant, especially significant to the cultural understanding of the time and to the philosophers of the time and the way that they conceptualized about the beginning of the world. The word arche was used to refer to origins, the origins of the universe. That's how the philosophers used the word arche. And this word logos was also a common word and concept used in ancient Greek philosophy as well. The word logos might be one of the most significant words in the New Testament, and yet it's one of these Greek words that the way we translate it, we don't grasp what it meant fully at all. We encounter this most notably in John 1:1, where we translate logos in this way. "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." But what does that mean? Or what did logos mean to the people who lived in Jesus' time? I remember before I studied the biblical Greek, I would read the passage in John 1, and I would think it's so beautifully written. It's like perfect poetry with perfect rhythm. But the underlying word for the word, what is that about? I immediately picture a word on a page in a book, maybe on a page of the Bible itself, or maybe I would picture the spoken words of a teacher or preacher, or yes, from God, maybe like in a word bubble going out from the one who is speaking. But when John uses logos in his gospel, he's pointing to something much deeper than words spoken or words on a page. So what exactly did logos mean to the people back then? And how does that change how we read this verse today? In Greek thought and biblical theology, logos carried layers of significance in the context in which it is used in the first chapter of John. So here is some background. In Greek philosophy, in the time of Jesus and his disciples, logos, when used in this context with origins, like it's being used here, arche, origins, and logos together, it was referring to a principle. Whatever it was, the principle that was the organizing principle of the universe. Think of it as the force and reasoning behind creation, that which holds everything together. Logos was used in this manner going back at least to Heraclitus, which was 500 years BC. He used it to refer to the order and sustaining of the cosmos. Logos continued to be used in this way across the centuries, and it was present in the writings of Philo, a Jewish philosopher who lived at the same time of Jesus and his disciples. One of the definitions of logos in a more general sense meant the expression of thought, and it conveys purposeful, active, organizational thinking and reasoning and planning. So clearly, when John was using this language, he was intentionally using this philosophical language. Then later, in verse 14, John goes on to explain that the Logos became a person. John 1:14 says, "The Word, the Logos, became flesh and dwelt among us." the Logos put on flesh, became human, and came to live with us. And this is who Jesus was. And this is who Jesus is. So when John says, in the beginning was the Logos, he's teaching us that Jesus is the very expression of God, the living embodiment of who God is. As Hebrews 1:3 puts it, Jesus is the radiance of God's glory and the exact representation of his being, sustaining all things by the power of his word. In closing, this idea of Logos has a profound impact on how we live and think. This idea of Jesus being the Logos compels us to listen to what he teaches. Logos is not just a concept to admire or to analyze. It's a reality to live by. Just as the concept of the Logos was that of the organizing principle of the universe, Jesus, as the Logos, gives us the instruction and representation of how we are to organize our lives. And not to organize our lives so that he controls us, but to organize our lives in a manner that allows us to flourish while we are here. And yes, I use that word flourish intentionally. So hold on for that, because I will explain more in my next blog posting cast, which should be next week and will also be on more of this passage in John chapter 1. So as we think about the meaning of Logos, especially around this Christmas season, when we are celebrating the fact that the Logos came and was born in flesh as a baby, let's ask ourselves, if Christ is the reason behind all that exists, how much is he the reason underlying everything that we do? Are we sharing the truth of the Logos with others? Are we letting his word shape our thoughts and guide our steps? Thank you for listening. This is Sherry Peavy, the author and the voice behind these messages. I invite you to GospelLifeLearning.com to sign up for our monthly email newsletter if you haven't already done so. You will never miss a message, a special offer, or a free resource. Thank you again. Until next time.